Morning, a very warm welcome to all of you, and thank you very much for taking the time to join us and to watch this presentation. We are specifically talking to you as an honours student, and we thought that we would talk to you about I'm registered for an honours degree, what now? So there are some basic things that we would just want to bring under your attention. And we are also inviting you for further conversations. We will share our contact details at the end. My name is Lisa Daisel. I'm from the Unisa Directorate for Counselling and Career Development. And with me, I've got my colleague, Dr. Chipiwa Kurisang. Welcome very much.
Morning, Lisa. Morning to the students and the Unisa community in general. I'm very grateful that today we are just sitting talking about, I'm a registered student, what now? As we were engaging earlier with another group of honor students from the College of Economic and Management Sciences, it just became quite clearer to me that honor students are normally neglected, especially just having a conversation about their career and what is it to come. Because a lot of emphasis is put to undergrad students because you are seen as very new in the system, you need a lot of support and you still need to decide. Even in families, they will say, we can't worry about that one. She's a matured student. She's now doing her honors. Later on in your career, a lot of support it's sort of given to masters and doctoral students because that's more difficult and people need support. An honors student is like a middle child who is always neglected. The first child when you are doing your first degree, the last born when you are doing your masters and honors and doctoral always get their attention. So I'm very grateful that as the directorate and the college, we have thought about engaging with the honor students and where they are in their career. Let's now start this presentation with the attributes for a successful honor student. What do you need to succeed? You have now entered a postgraduate level, which is quite different to undergrad at some aspects. Remember, to succeed at a postgraduate level, you need to work systematically. Do things steps by step. You can't work haphazardly or just being working in chaos. You need also to be responsive, which means you must immediately act on task and you must do things that are related to your studies. Another important aspect for you to succeed is being able to study independently. But furthermore, after you have managed to study independently, you must also write academic text, which is a huge area because we are used to writing messages, WhatsApp messages, or writing other things. But academic writing requires a different ways of understanding. You need to read widely about area of study. Remember now, as a postgrad, you need to develop depth of knowledge. Maybe we can say depth and wealth of knowledge in the specific topics, which then means you must read broadly. You can't just read your study guide and your prescribed book. Furthermore, you also need to critically analyze and evaluate and integrate information from various sources. So you read, you get all this information, and you must be able to have information management and integrate information from different sources. But it also needs to ask critical questions. How does this make sense? What does this mean? What are the loopholes in everything that I have read? Which part of the information applies to me and my community, and which part does not apply? Recognize when to seek support and negotiate support from others. Where you are at the level of studying, you can't just do things alone. You also need support from others, but support is always available. How do you tap into that? How do you negotiate support? You also need to have continuous access to the internet and be able to work comfortably with technology. At a postgrad level, one of the key graduate attributes is also that you are technologically wise. You also need to effectively utilize online information sources, specifically those available through the Unisa library. You cannot just cut and paste from Google. Let's maybe talk quickly about undergraduate journey to postgraduate. It's a rite of passage where you move from undergraduate to postgraduate. I don't know where else do you relate this to, but at different things in our life, there is this passage where you move from being a mother to a grandmother. You are the same student, but different realities present themselves on a postgraduate level. So you remain a student. Maybe you even remain a Unisa student. But what is expected or what is presented of you is different. For example, how you are expected to complete assignments, the level of work to be completed, it's different. On a career level, honors is both motivating and daunting, because you start asking yourself questions about how you see the degree contributing to your career development. You can also start being worried about you don't know where this will lead to, whether you will be admitted to the masters or not. There are expectations that you are preparing for masters and doctoral studies, and how do you start preparing for yourself? It could also be daunting and demotivating because you had the expectations where your degree will lead you. But where you are now, you feel that the degree was not worth what you have contemplated, and that can also overshadow your experience or your expectations of the honors. Let's also look at this different aspects regarding honors or postgrad and undergraduate. Let's first look at academic rigor. Remember, the undergraduate focus on building foundational knowledge and understanding broad concepts within a discipline. While critical thinking skills are encouraged, the emphasis may be more on memorization and regurgitating information. I'm sorry for that. Deeper, when it comes to the honors though, deeper exploration of theoretical frameworks is expected. There are disciplinary debates. Students are expected to critically engage with complex ideas. You no longer just repeat the information as is. You need to challenge existing assumptions and contribute to the advancement of knowledge in your field. When it comes to assignments, while you are on an undergraduate level, it's more about demonstrating a basic understanding of course material through multiple choice and short answer question essays and exams, which typically requires summarizing concept and providing example to support arguments. However, when you move to a postgrad level, there is more in-depth and it requires deeper level of critical thinking and analysis. For example, you may need to conduct original research, write literature reviews, or develop complex case studies. Typically, it involves synthesizing information from multiple sources and presenting well-supported arguments backed by scholarly evidence. You are already being prepared to be an expert, to be an academic in the field, that which is you're going to refine in a master's and doctoral level, and that's expected more on your honors level to start. The lectures are starting to prepare you to become an academic, a researcher you want to be. The impact of what is expected on you is that it impacts on your self-confidence and the levels of anxiety. You start asking yourself questions. You start questioning yourself. You start questioning whether you are ready and you are the right person. You will ask questions such as, am I supposed to be here? Or am I not supposed to be here? Am I the right person to be doing these honors? There is also an issue, I can't disappoint myself and others. Remember, when we start doubting ourselves and we are highly anxious, all we see is failure. We don't see possibilities. We don't ask ourselves questions, what do I need to do to prepare myself? It's very important that you know your qualification. While you are doing this postgraduate diploma or an honors, it's important to know your qualification. It's one of your ingredients that is very important for this journey. You might be asking yourself, what are the things then you need to know? You need to know which modules you will need to complete to obtain your qualification. You also need to know if they are elective modules. Are they all the modules compulsory? Are they elective modules? And when you think about elective modules, consider which modules align with your career and academic goals. Where do you want to be? What type of problems you want to solve? What type of contribution you want to make? It's also important to consider how much time you have for studies in an average week and choose the modules accordingly. You might say, I've already chosen the modules and I've already registered. It means that you need to revisit how you are spending your time, how you are planning your time, and how do you need to adjust your commitments according to the expectation. Honors level modules require about 8 to 10 hours of study per week. I want you to take a moment and think about the time you are investing on your studies. What does this say to you? What does this mean to you? What do you need to start thinking differently about? What do you need to start negotiating with regard to some of your commitments? It's also important that you develop skills for success. You might be wondering, what am I talking about when I'm talking about developing skills for success? Let's now go through this. There are critical thinking and analytical skills that are very important for your success, not only in your studies, but also in your career. When you look at some of the skills, you will see they are aligned to what UNISA calls as graduate attributes. What UNISA aims to contribute in you as a graduate, so that by the end of the qualification, we are releasing a graduate who can make a meaningful contribution to the society. The first thing is the question everything, the ability to question. We come from a society and community where sometimes people are shy to just ask questions. It's okay to ask questions about the information you encounter, including assumptions, biases, and implications. As I'm presenting now, and as you are listening to me, you can ask questions about what is it that makes sense from this presentation for you. What is it that does not make sense? When you ask questions, you are not only asking me, you are also asking yourself. If you don't ask yourself questions, you might not move. There might not be interventions if you don't ask certain questions to yourself. It's also important to practice active listening and reading. Some people are more comfortable in asking questions, but they are not comfortable in the ability to hear other people. You need to actively engage with others and your reading material by having discussions and taking notes. When you are reading, you are having a conversation with another person. You need to engage with this person where you read, you ask questions, you make notes. Asking clarifying questions and summarizing key points. It's also important to say, how do I make sense of what I was reading? Therefore, you can only do that by making summaries. You also need to evaluate evidence. Critically evaluate the quality and reliability of evidence by considering its source, credibility, relevance, and potential biases. If you start critically evaluating the information you are given at a particular time, it also helps you to even think, is this genuine? Is this real? Because at times we consume things without even understanding, is this source genuine? In the 21st century, we are quite vulnerable because there are a lot of things posted online. Sometimes people will contact me to say, I found that Unisa offered this qualification. Then I ask that person, did you get that information from Unisa website or just from Google? Then they realize they just found this information from Google. And that's the information Unisa posted long time ago, which is not relevant at the moment. Seek diverse perspective. You must understand that there are multiple viewpoints and perspectives when analyzing any situation, and they must also be considered. When you are engaged in any complex issue, you need to also consider multiple viewpoints. It also helps you so that you are not linear or you do not narrow your perspectives. Engage in reflective thinking. There is an author or a scholar who believes that if we don't critically engage or become reflective, we stop to exist. You need to reflect on your thought processes, assumptions, and biases. It's also important to be curious. You need to be curious about what is out there. Seek out new knowledge and experiences. You can only seek out new knowledge and experiences if you are curious. I wonder what students in this degree are doing with it. And if you do a search maybe on LinkedIn or you go on LinkedIn, that's your curiosity, and it could help you to learn what are the different opportunities linked to the qualification. It's also important to apply what you learn. You need to continuously think about how and what you are learning can be applied to solve real problems. We were talking earlier on about how people can start thinking about problems they want to solve and contributions they want to make. And part of that, you can only link it to what you are learning at the moment. It's important to have research and writing skills. Everybody who knows how to do research or to write, but it's also comforting to know we can all be taught how to research and write. What are we talking about research and writing skills? You need to learn how to write clearly and concisely through practicing and asking for feedback. Part of writing skills or research skills is the ability to cite your sources. You cannot have writing skills if you do not have academic integrity. Think about, who do I want to be? What kind of graduate do I want to be? And academic integrity is part of that. You cannot be impulsive and be looking at immediate gratification, that you just want to complete all your assignments. You just want to finish your exams. It can't be. That's not the graduates we want to produce. We want graduates who are very careful when it comes to academic dishonesty. What are we talking about when we are talking about academic honesty or academic integrity? It means copying information from another person's source. That means another assignment or portfolio. This thing is long tradition. I remember even when we do not used to write things online, people will look for who was doing the same course with me last year. Can I get the assignments? And you copy someone's assignment. And I remember a situation where the other person copied an assignment because they just saw it's assignment one from the same course, but they didn't even realize the lecture changed the assignment one for that academic year. It was completely different. That is coming from academic honesty. You can also be copying another student assignment or portfolio. It can even go further than that, where you are buying an essay from a ghostwriting services and pretending that it is your own. There are people who are out there who makes money from writing assignment for other students. You must know that is seriously wrong. It talks against the principle of academic integrity that we want to achieve. Asking someone else to do an assignment on your behalf. Even when we ask online platforms, nowadays we have got IE technology, we have got things like Chat GP. you can ask this person to do something for you. It's completely wrong. Consider how you will use technology and resources ethically, intentionally, and responsibly. Technology is there to aid our studies and aid in our career for success, but in a responsible way. It's very important to understand you won't succeed if you don't have time management and organizational development, if you are not organized. You know, sometimes you can pass, but you might not pass with the marks you deserve or that reflect your potential because of how you spend your time on your studies. You need to think about how you allow yourself to perform according to your potential. So ask yourself, how do I allow myself to perform according to my potential? How do I choose to spend my time? Do I spend a lot of time on online things like Facebook without concentrating on my studies? What tools do I need to stay organized? One of the most important critical thing is how you set boundaries. And most people, when they think about boundaries, they think about other people and how they don't want to upset other people. Think about this quote. Put this quote in front of your study timetable on your phone. You need to remember, Brené Brown says, daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves. And when we do love ourselves, even when we risk disappointing others. When I'm sitting this morning recording this for you, I have set boundaries for other things that will miss me. Even though in the process I'm disappointing those people, but I love myself so much that I need to commit to my work. It's also important that you think about collaboration and networking. You need to collaborate and network with your peers and professionals in your field. Who are you talking to? Are you just talking to random students? But if you are thinking you are a student in psychology, can it help you to start talking to other students in the field of psychology? Can you talk to people who are psychologists? If you are a social work student, can it help to talk to people who are social workers? Because that helps you to negotiate even support and career support. Talking to others about your studies, your career, your successes, and challenges will enable you to test your reality. It also helps you to connect the reality on the ground and the reality you have on your head. You know, this will help you to be able to understand, this is how I think about and do things. Is it the same or different from others? This is how I think about my career. Is it that what is happening there outside of me? It will also help you to become aware of opportunities. Reflection is very important. I also want you to rethink about the reflection. And as you are reflecting, you regularly reflect on your academic, personal, and professional goals. Here are some of the things you can start reflecting on. What happened? What have just happened? How do I feel about what happened? Maybe you just submitted assignment. Maybe you just failed an assignment. Think about what happened. What did I learn? How would I want to do things differently? How is what I'm learning contributing to my career goals? What do I still need to learn or to find out? We need to continuously reflect. As we are living, we cannot stop reflecting because then we disconnect to who we are, what we are doing in our career journey. Negotiating support. I like the African proverb or the idiom that it takes a village to raise a child. I want to put it to you that it takes a village or a community for you to graduate. Look at the qualification of your career as if it's like a child. Therefore, you need to negotiate support. You need to negotiate support to cultivate a supportive network It could be from your family, your church, your community. You need to negotiate support. It also helps you to navigate obstacles effectively. When you are with others, you have got the support to deal with challenges. In conclusion, when you negotiate support, you are able to thrive academically and personally because you are able to have other people to share with and to be able to solve some of the challenges with you. Let's think about the principles. Nobody will know if you don't ask. Those are some of the principles of negotiating support. It's normal to need and ask for support. It's a step towards empowerment and resilience. Unlike what most of us think, that when you ask for support, it means you are weak and you don't know. Negotiating support involves clearly articulating your needs, being open to feedback and willing to compromise. It's also important to reflect on the specific areas you need support for. Is it academic, emotional, or logistical support? Communicate your needs and concerns openly and honestly. How do you negotiate support at Unisa? There are various ways of negotiating support. One area of support to students is counseling and career development. We are there to talk to you, to be there, to hold your hand, and also to listen. That's support by itself. Just sitting and listening to someone, it might feel like this person is not doing much, but as long as this person is listening to you, is doing a lot. There are regional centers which have got a variety of services available, from the library, from technology, from library where you can attend some seminars on how to search for books, how to write, how to refer properly. There is also My Unisa and My Life, which is there to provide support, communication, being able to be up to date. You must also remember we have got Unisa Radio, where they invite guests, involve guests from different fields of study, different experts who are there to support you. Make sure you tune into Unisa Radio, you send them questions because they are able to address all your questions for you. You can visit My Unisa for more details about some of the supports available.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kodisang. I also like this image of, that students need to create their own village in order to get through their studies. There's a lot of other sayings, but I think that is quite apt in terms of being a Unisa student, but then particularly also managing this transition from an undergraduate student to postgraduate. So we shared with you that getting support, counselling and career development is there for you. So we don't want this to be the only engagement that you have with us. Please feel free to contact us at any time. And Dr. Kodisang did mention earlier that it's not just about when you're in trouble, for example. So part of taking responsibility and being proactive and empowering yourself is to have regular conversations, for example, about your career, about any of the challenges that you are experiencing that are impacting on your studies. So the easiest way to get a hold of us would be by sending an email. So that's to counselling@unisa.ac.za. We also offer online appointments. So at any time, you're welcome to book an online appointment with one of the student counselors to have conversations about your studies, about your career. And then also the counselors at the regional offices are available for face-to-face sessions. So you're welcome to also contact them if you would want to go and talk to somebody in person. Our website, unisa.ac.za/counselling. There are a lot of resources related to your career, your academic, as well as your personal development that we really encourage you to go and explore. So even as a start, just to go and look at what is available so that when you need something, I remember that I read about this on the counselling website. And then we also have a number of presentations that we've recorded over the years and that we share on our YouTube channel. So from the two of us, again, thank you for sitting through the presentation, for listening to it. We hope that this is not the last time that you see us and that we will see you in the future. And thank you, Dr. Kodesang, also for your contribution.
Thank you, Lisa. And as you said, this is for me is like an invitation for a relationship of 2024 that we need to continue with as well.